Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Bye.
Good. First off, on behalf of Eastern Municipal Water District, we really appreciate the time you took tonight to join us. We're going to go over the Perris water and sewer consolidation process and also introduce you to EMWD tonight. My name is Kevin Pearson. I'm one of the public affairs officers at Eastern Municipal Water District, and part of my job is community outreach in the City of Perris. And so I've been involved in this project for, probably about a year or so now in terms of all the outreach side. I also want to introduce some of our team members here tonight and some of the city staff who have helped make this possible on behalf of all the residents that are going to benefit from this program as well. Real quick, in the back, we have Consuelo Arias. She's one of our public affairs specialists here at Eastern, and she does a lot of our bilingual outreach for us as well. We have Haley Daniel, who's public affairs manager, who oversees all the outreach materials that Consuelo and I produce for this program. We also have from the City of Perris, Matt Schlink, the Director of Finance, and Ernie Vega, the Assistant City Manager. And they've been great partners throughout this consolidation process, as is the entire City Council, EMWD's Board of Directors and the staff. Really push this through for the benefit of the people in this room and your neighbors, so that you have a more efficient level of service in the future as well. So real quick, just as a quick housekeeping item, we have some pizza and some bottled water in the back. Restrooms are alcohol down here as well. We have our friends from Alternative Twist Radio who are live streaming tonight up here as well. And does anybody require that the presentation be given solely in Spanish, or is everybody good with the English language presentation? Okay, perfect. And then if you do have questions in Spanish that you're more comfortable with, Consuelo is here and available to translate as well throughout the evening. So we're going to get started here and talk about the consolidation process. Let me ask in Spanish. We're going to have her ask in Spanish real quick.
Si hay alguien que quiere la presentación en español. Ok, si tienen, déjame siento con ustedes.
Consuelo is going to sit with them and speak to them as we go as well. So, let's see if we can get this to click. We're on the slight delay though, so that is good to know on the screens up top here.
Yeah.
Down. I do not like this button. So we're going to talk about first off the Perris water and sewer consolidation process and what that really looks like from an administrative point of view and what it means for you as the end customer, as a water user at your home or business. So a little bit of background, the City of Perris for many years has operated a small water system and sewer system in two portions of the city. The first portion is in downtown Perris, where we are here. That has about 2,700 water connections for both residential and business properties. And then there are about 1,300 connections up just right near the Lake Perris Dam in the Villages of Avalon HOA. For the past few years, the city has really been evaluating options of what it wants to do moving forward with its water and sewer systems. A number of years ago, they had been approached by Liberty Utilities about possible sale of the system to that private utility. That ultimately did not go through. And so the city approached EMWD and said, hey, are you guys willing to allow us to transfer ownership to EMWD through a consolidation process, and EMWD would ultimately take over the service? Then they've requested this a number of times over the years. It's come up, whether it's formal or informal. The timing was right this time for both parties. So we agreed that we would go ahead and move forward with the process as well. And part of that was because water and sewer systems were ultimately creating an increase in maintenance costs for the cities. And so they approached us throughout this process. So what is a consolidation? It's kind of a governmental term. But really, it's about transferring the system from one public agency, which is the city, to another, which is EMWD. There is no voter or regulatory approval required because it's going from one public agency to another. I know several years ago when the discussion with Liberty Utilities was going on, there had to be a public vote. Because we're both public agencies, that was not required this time. But it did go through approval by the Perris City Council and EMWD's Board of Directors. Both of our agencies unanimously approved this consolidation process. One of the bedrocks for EMWD throughout this process was that our existing customers would see no financial or service level impacts as a result of this process. And for us, really everybody in this room, everybody who's impacted by this, ultimately the consolidation is going to provide the most efficient and consistent form of service throughout the city for the end users. And that is really, really what this is all about. So this affects the, again, we talked about the two areas. This affects only those who are served by the City of Perris water system. EMWD has for many, many years served about 80% of the City of Perris. Means there's no changes if you're an existing EMWD customer, but for those who've been served by the city, you're going to be an EMWD customer as of next Tuesday. In terms of the financial impacts and what this looks like, again, the existing EMWD customers won't see any financial impacts associated with this process. And we have been doing a pretty in-depth review of anticipated maintenance needs, what infrastructure has to be improved or upgraded or modified, and we're incorporating those into our capital improvement project program. We are going to honor the 10% annual rate increase that was approved by the Perris City Council. They did a 5-year rate increase of 10% per year. We are going to go ahead and honor that. So we're going to keep the rates that the city has established for its customers through the end of that 5-year cycle, which goes through 27-28 is when that ends. And the Perris customers are going to remain on the existing tier structure that they've been on for many, many years. That means the first 18 billing units on your bill, you billed at tier 1. And then in the future, EMWD may evaluate the methodology of that. But for now, you're going to be on the same billing system with the same rate structure that's been in place that was approved by the City Council. So what are the next steps for this consolidation process? Beginning October 15th, which is next Tuesday, you're going to be served by EMWD. And I know our board and our staff is very excited to begin that process of serving you, providing you with high quality service. You will have no interruption of service during the transition. This is not a situation where we have to walk out in the middle of the street and shut down the valve and do infrastructure upgrades and connect their pipes to our pipes. We've had a connection point with the city. We've sold them water for many, many years as well. So really the pipes all kind of work together on the infrastructure. We've been treating the sewer that they maintain lines for. So there's no transition with that as well. So there will be absolutely no interruption of service. But as of October 15th, you will be an EMWD customers.
How about the water meters?
We're going to get to the water meters in a little bit.
Okay.
So,
No.
jumping the gun on us here. So yeah, we'll definitely get to that as well, because we know that's a big question as well. So you're going to.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned 18 units. What is the unit?
So a billing unit is how we measure water. It's 100 cubic feet of water, which is 748 gallons. And so the average customer on a residential property in EMWD service area, depending on the time of year, will use between 12 to 18 billing units. So the 18 is a pretty generous water budget at tier 1. So you're going to receive a final bill from the City of Perris. They will do a meter read. Ernie, is it the 14th through the meter read? Yeah.
That is going to be, the reads are actually being done right now.
Okay.
And within the next 2 weeks, the bill is.
Perfect. So within the next 2 weeks, you're going to get a final bill from the City of Perris, and you're going to pay that bill to the City of Perris. You can pay that on their online portal, from the City Hall, mail a check, but that final bill is going to be from the city. You want to pay that to the city. EMWD cannot accept payment for that final bill from the city. If there is any type of credit on the account, that would be a question that you'll want to work with Matt and the city staff, and they can address that on an individual basis as well. But I know the city will obviously, if there is a credit, they're going to do what they can to.
Any credit will be applied to their final bill.
Correct.
You'll see it as a line.
Yes. So after that, you're going to start receiving bills from EMWD. The first billing cycle is for November 7th. That's one of the two segments of the city. The second one is for November 25th. So depending on where you live in the city will be which of those two dates you get it. That bill you'll want to pay to EMWD. And we've got a variety of payment options that you can do. You can go to our My Account portal and create an account and pay online. We have pay by phone. We have automatic withdrawal you can sign up for. You can pay at our payment centers. You can pay at our main office in Perris. So a variety of resources available for you as well to pay those bills.
If we presently have our bills like on a bill paid through a bank, will you accept that as well?
Yeah, we do accept bill paid through the bank as well.
Will the city, be able to accept payments here at the finance office for EMWD?
No, the city will not be able to accept payments for EMWD bills. You'll have to pay that to us. And if you do prefer to pay in person, our office is right down the street. You know where Big League Dreams is at?
Yeah.
We're directly across the street from Big League Dreams on Trumbull Road. So we're about a 5-minute drive.
Right.
Another question.
Yeah.
How soon can we make accounts on the EMWD?
Once you are active with us as of October 15th, you can probably start logging in then to establish. When you get your first bill, it'll have your account number on there. I would probably make it then, that way you've got the account number there. So, but it'll be pretty quick. Once you get that first bill, use that account number. It'll ask you information to set up the account. It's a really easy process. And it's a really, really great platform that we're going to have some limited capabilities with the City of Perris right away. As we get the meter replacements done to the new meters that we typically use, those services will continue to expand and you'll have full functionality as well. And once we get those new meters in place, that includes being able to view your usage in real time, like hourly usage. The notification about leaks, a lot of different options available on My Account portal that you'll have access to, and those will expand as you get the new meters in place. Yeah.
But if we don't pay our bill on the day that it's due, will we have
Good question. So the question was, what happens if you do not pay your EMWD bill by the due date? So there is I think it's a 4 or 5 day grace period from the due date. After that, there is a $25 late charge that will be assessed to the bill. Late charge. Yes.
What do we have now?
In the City of Perris for a late charge? Do you have a late charge on your fee? No.
Not off the top of my head.
Somewhere around the 25?
Yes.
Okay.
That's no late fee.
I don't believe there's.
There's no late fee.
There's no. I don't believe I've
I
ever
don't believe
seen one.
they're charging a late fee.
Why are we gonna save money? Move with you guys, there's so many sewage fees. 30 for this, 40 for that. What am I saying? I mean,
So, okay, we're going to get into the rate structure here in a little bit, Jim. We can answer
that's
those
too much
questions.
money. In 5 years, we're gonna pay double.
Again, we're honoring the rate increases that were approved by the City Council.
How can we take them out?
The City Council?
No, the rate increase. That's a lot of money.
It is. And certainly we understand that there is a rate increase involved. Our board of directors also does a nominal rate increase every year. Honestly, it's financially prudent to do the small rate increases as opposed to a larger fee over time as well. But we are honoring the rates that the City Council adopted. Over time, we will look at how we transition customers to our rate structure and our rate methodology over time.
So nothing was put in place to protect the customers here in Perris after 2028. After 2028, you can raise it to anything you want.
No, we as a public agency, we charge for cost of service. So it's not anything we want. You would, at that point in time, likely transition to our rate methodology and our rate figures, which honestly are fairly close to what the rates are now when you factor in the different methodology and the different rate points as well.
Is your rate escalation for your regular EMWD customers more than 10% per year for the next 5 years?
We typically do a 2-year budget. I want to say last year it was 6-7%, but we've had years where it's 3 to 4, but we also do them on basically an annual basis to avoid the bigger rate jumps. Typically with water agencies, what you find is when you don't do a rate increase for a number of years, when you do them, they end up being larger at the time, and it's a little bit more challenging.
So accepting the 10% that the city council passed is actually more than we would pay if we were EMWD customers on a yearly basis. Why don't we get the lesser of 10% or what you normally charge?
I don't think that it's going to be a situation where you guys are paying more based on the current rate structure that you're.
Okay, that's why I said, why didn't it set up if it's nice that you don't think so, but why couldn't it be the lesser? If it's 4% a year, then our bill should only go up 4%, not 10%. Just because the city council that's now setting loose the whole program decided that some time ago. Now that it's in your house that these decisions are being made, because you couldn't. I mean, I know as the public agency, you got to go through a lot of efforts to make your pay increases and decreases, and by co-opting what the city did, you actually have the ability to raise our bills more than if we were, in your system original. And that doesn't seem fair.
I'm going to go back to a rate slide here. I'm going to kind of talk off the slide a little bit. So the tier 2 rate that you're going to be on the next year is right now it's $5.67 for tier 2. That's all water above your tier 1 rate, which is 18 billion units. EMWD's tier 1 rate, and I'm going off of memory, so these are approximation, is a little about $1.70 for tier 1. It's about $4 for tier 2. It's about $7 for tier 3 and about almost $12 for tier 4. So when you start getting into some of the years where you're in tier 2 here, you may actually be in tiers 3 and 4 with our methodology. So, which are higher price points for those of the units.
So I can understand that for people who use a lot of water, but in my instance, and I don't know, most of the area you're taking over is lower income. This isn't the side of town where they're building $800,000 homes.
Of course.
These are older folks who've been here for a long time. And based on what I'm seeing here, based on what you just said, especially, we're going to be paying more than what your customers are paying that have been with you before. And you're happily continuing the 10% increases on top of what's already starting from a basis of a higher price. So this system that you're taking over already had higher prices, and you're going to maintain that higher price and increase it, sounds like up to twice as much as what your increases yearly are going to be for your EMD customers that are approved by the state of California. And I'm a little concerned that our city managed to negotiate a situation where you guys get paid more than your current customers. I mean, I understand the higher usage to report, but if we're talking about people who are staying in that tier 1, or maybe just barely edge over the tier 1, it's substantially more money.
Yeah, and our tier 1 is based on total of 20% of your total water budget. So if your water budget, for example, just to make the math easy, is 15 billion units for that month, our tier 1 is only coming in at 3 billion units. After that, our customers are paying a price point that's above your tier 1 for the balance of their water budget. So to say it's not necessarily an apples to apples comparison.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So I know it's easy to look at, well, tier 1 here is one price, tier 1 here's the other. Our budgets are set up vastly differently.
How do you determine the budget?
So our water budgets are determined based on a variety of factors. It's the number of people in your house. So you'll let us know how many people in your household, and you can update that online. It is based on the square footage of the landscape area of your property that we do through GIS. It's based global mapping systems. So yeah, so and then it's based on the number of days in the month as well, and We also have a factor for what's called evapotranspiration, which is the weather pattern throughout the month. So when it's hot, you get a larger water budget. When it's cool and rainy in the winter, it reduces. And we also have a conservation factor that applies the age of the home. So newer homes are actually held to a much lower water budget with that factor. The older homes, which predominantly are going to be the ones that qualify in the downtown area here, they're going to be on the larger format for that conservation factor as well. So we run some numbers. You're getting a good value with the structure right now as well. So it's
For the
difficult.
average, for the average patient, or for the average customer, or is that based on you coming up with the average usage that the customers have, or are you coming up with that based on some other fictitious number? Actual numbers, that's true?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, and so it's definitely one that we've looked at, because we do not want to put the customers, particularly in low-income areas, where we understand. We completely understand that people are living paycheck to paycheck. They're waiting on the Social Security check or the retirement check. We understand that. We did not want to be in a situation, nor did the city, where we were going to put you in a situation where it was going to instantly become a significant challenge. So, we understand that. We've been sensitive to it as well. We're going to go here, and then we're going to go in the back.
Just a question, you mentioned the older homes, which a lot of us are older homes, and we're also on acres. So can you explain again the difference between older homes and the newer homes? Are we paying more because we're an older home?
No, you actually get a little bit more in your water budget based on the multiplier that we use for older homes. Just typically because newer homes are held to different efficiency standards at construction, with plumbing fixtures, with their irrigation fixtures, they're just a lot more efficient nowadays. So we, over time, have pushed down based on the age of the home, pushed the newer homes to a more efficient water budget. The older homes have a little bit more leeway there as well.
Yeah, so you're honoring the 10% increase approved by the city for the next 5 years. But the next bullet says the tier structure may only be honored through next year. So what's going on with the restructuring of the tier structure? Are we going to get moved to the same type of water budget that current EMWD people have, or are we going to end up sticking with what is, as we said, a better deal for a longer period of time?
We don't know the answer to that yet. And so we wanted to make sure that we put in there that we may evaluate our methodology in the future. If we do that, we will go through the full, what's called Proposition 218 process, where we do the public notifications, where we hold public hearings, where it's in front of our board of directors, where we give you the opportunity to provide input on those decisions as well. No decision has been made about when a methodology change may take place, if one's going to take place through the end of this 5-year period. So, but we want to make sure that we're transparent, because if in a year from now, we do end up making that, or 2 years or 3 years, we want to make sure that you are aware of it too. We're going to be transparent. We're not going to hide anything with this as well. So we want to make sure we include that in there, as at some point it may be evaluated. So.
Is there specific language that has been agreed to between the city and you on this particular agreement, and how can we find out what that is and where it's at?
There's a match-like question in terms of the pricing structure.
The whole agreement for the 10 years or tier changes, there's some kind of agreement was made, correct? And so what was that, and is there?
Yes, all of the agreements are public record. They've been before the city council, before our board of directors.
And I'm asking you to direct me on how to find specifically what I'm looking for, rather than a 400-page document.
See me after, I'll give you my card and we can touch base as well.
Okay, thank you.
Matt, you want to add anything to that?
No.
Okay, perfect. And I know there's a question about sewer usage as well, so I want to address that too. Currently, the city owns the pipes. We do the treatment. So right now you see 2 line items on your bill, with one of them's for conveyance or collection, the other's for treatment. We will just have one line item on the bill. I know oftentimes you'll look at it and say, hey, I'm getting charged here and I'm getting charged here. It will be a single line item on the bill moving forward for the sewer charges as well. So want to make sure we're clear on that. The sewer structure is a whole different beast. but definitely it's going to be one line item on the bill moving forward as opposed to two. But because they own the system and they had to charge a fee for the upkeep of the pipelines for sewer and the lift stations, and we had to charge a fee for the treatment of it. That's why you see the split costs there. We have similar agreements with other cities such as Hemet and San Jacinto as well for very similar agreements where they own the pipes, but we do the treatment. Yes.
So the second bill that we've been getting for a year or two now, that will be consolidated into EMWD.
For sewer, you'll get one single bill that has water and sewer on it.
And is this consolidation going to impact the SLWA?
What?
The SLWA coverage?
What is
I
SLWA?
don't know what it stands for, but it covers the outside piping. It's an insurance bill.
So the water line insurance that you get the mailers for, we've run into those before. I want to say this comes up probably about once every year or two where those companies do outreach. We find that they tend to target a lot of lower income or senior communities as well with it. We don't want to say that it's a scam, but we always on those encourage people to do your due diligence. Oftentimes homeowners insurance covers the same things. And a number of those companies have run into challenges from state attorneys generals in respective states. So I can't speak specifically to that policy, but we have put out advisories before. People can be very wary when approached by those companies. So it's something that we always just can't tell you what to do, but we always try to use caution when working with those companies because of the terms of the policies and the practices of how they do outreach.
But your responsibility still ends at the meter. Everything past that is the homeowner's responsibility.
Correct. Yeah. And that's for the state of the same. That's always been the case for every water agency. Is we end at the meter, you begin at the service line. Introduce you to EMWD now and give you some background on us as an agency, seeing who is providing your water moving forward. So we were established in 1950 as an agency out in the San Jacinto Valley to manage groundwater rights with local farmers. Over the years, over the last, in fact, coming up in January, we will be 75 years old. So over the last 75 years, pretty much, we've grown into a 601 square mile service area, going from Rio Valley all the way down to Fallbrook and a 215 corridor out to the San Jacinto Valley. We serve almost 1 million people now. So we are a very, very rapidly growing area, one of the fastest growing in the state, but we're only 43% built out. So with us, we take a look at the long range planning, understanding that this is one of the few high growth areas in Southern California. Last year, we had about 5,500 new connections. We'll hit that again this coming year as well. So that 1 million population we serve is going to keep going up. We are a member of the Metropolitan Water Agency. That is one of our great partners. That is a 26-member agency collective that helps bring in water from outside the area through the Colorado River and the state water project system. So we are governed by a board of directors, much like a city council or a park district or the county board of supervisors. You ultimately elect these individuals. We have about 600 employees. Our annual budget is almost $600 million. And we have a 5-year plan to invest about $785 million into infrastructure investments and improvements within your communities. We anticipate this year we'll have about $78 million within that 5 years through external funding. In the last 20 years, we received about $700 million in grants from state and federal partners. So that's one of the ways that we are keeping rates low and providing a great value for our customers. We have about 200 active projects going on in that plan. We are the 6th largest water agency in California. And our representative to the board of directors is on the Metropolitan Water District is Jeff Armstrong, who is also the board member who represents the Perris and Menifee area. He actually retired as a general manager of a neighboring water agency. Is a finance guy at heart and is all about providing value and great policies as well. So He is our representative to the Metropolitan Board. So we have about 166,000 water accounts right now. As of Tuesday, that will go up to about 170,000 with the addition of our new customers here. We also do sewer. It's about the equivalent of about 273,000 units that we do. We operate 4 reclamation plants, including the one down the street here in Perris. Everything you put down the drain in the sewer system, we take, we treat, and we turn it into recycled water, and we use 100% of that for irrigation of parks, schools, golf courses, public landscaping, and the largest user of that is agriculture. That recycled water is safe. You can irrigate crops with it in the morning and they get the on your table that night. So it's safe for farmers and the same day.
How do we get a hold of Jeff Armstrong as a representative? What's the contact line?
I did change that. See me after you can my card.
Sorry.
No, of course. So this is where your water supply comes from. We get about 44% of our water from Metropolitan Water District, from the state water system and Colorado River. Recycled water accounts for about 35% of our overall supply. And then we also have groundwater. We get about 9% of our water from groundwater wells out in the San Jacinto area. And then we give out 10% of our water through groundwater desalination. The Harris, Menifee, Lakeview, Nuevo area has a salty groundwater basin. So we take that, we send it to our desalination complex in Menifee, and we treat it. In fact, if you grab a bottle of water in the back, this is actually from our desalination facility, and it's the same water that you're going to be getting in your home as well. That facility serves about 30,000 households per year. And we actually expanded that 2 years ago, doubling its capacity. So definitely we are heavily invested in groundwater. As part of the negotiation with the city, we also received their groundwater rights, which is going to allow us to further maximize our groundwater supplies in the area. So in terms of our commitment to our customers, we're to provide timely and accurate billing every single month. I know from many of you, that's been a challenge with the city or point of frustration, making a bill every 2 or 3 months. You're going to get a bill from us every month. So we want to make sure that we're clear that you make sure you budget for that. You'll get a bill. You've got 20 days from the date of the bill to pay it. You're going to see investments from our regional infrastructure in terms of improved water supply and reliability, water quality. We actually do about 40,000 tests in our state certified laboratory every single year to make sure that we have a very, very high quality water source. And we meet every single state and federal drinking water standard. And we provide the results of those tests every single year in the consumer confidence report we send out at the end of June. So we're very transparent about your water supply and quality. We also have a number of customer-focused programs that you're going to be able to take part in moving forward. We have payment assistance programs for those in need. We have a flyer on those in the back. We have our Landscapes for Living program, which really enables our customers to modify in their outdoor spaces to be more efficient. I always tell people one of the best programs that we offer is a smart control program. We replace your irrigation controller. We will pay for it. We will install it, and it will update the irrigation times every single day based on the weather. You don't have to touch it. So you do not have to run outside when it gets hot and turn it up. You don't have to run outside when it's raining and turn it off. It will do all the work for you. Again, that is free, and we install it for you. So
we get into that.
Visit our website, and there's a link to the Landscapes for Living, and you can apply for the smart controller program through there. So yeah, it's honestly, I've had mine for about 7 or 8 years. I don't think I've adjusted it. There are days in the summer where my grass goes for 10 or 12 minutes, my little patch of grass in the back, and there are days in the winter where it might go for a minute. I don't ever adjust it. So we really encourage people to be efficient with your outdoor spaces, because that's where about 60% of your water use is. We want to help you use less. And then in the future, you're going to have access to more access on our My Account portal. Eventually, we're going to upgrade the meters that you have. I believe the funding for that goes to our board for consideration later this year. And at that point, once we replace the meters with the smart meters that we've got, again, you'll be able to log on and view real-time usage of your hourly usage throughout the day. If there's a leak at your property, you're gonna get a text or an email from us saying you've had usage for 24 hours continuous. You might want to check and see if there's a leak. But we do everything we can to help you be more efficient and alert you if there's a problem.
Do you have the ability to turn off the water in situations like that? I had that happen to me. I was on vacation.
Yeah.
Again, had a water line break on my property and I was gone for a month. The water ran for about 2 weeks, just continuously before someone was able to catch it.
Yeah, we do not have the ability to turn it off.
So,
But the good news is you'll be able to get a call or an email from us
Hi.
and then touch base with a neighbor and say, hey,
obviously.
yeah, hey, I've got a water leak. Can you go turn off the valve for me as well? So at least you'll know about it if you're gone and can work with family, friends to turn that off for you as well. So again, that's going to be kind of phase 2 functionality once we get the meter replacements done. But it is a priority for us within the coming year as well. Yeah.
One more question.
Yeah.
On those smart meters, they were replaced a few years back. Are you guys gonna replace those too?
Yeah, the question was because the city put in the smart meter a few years back, are we
They never
replacing?
work, and they charge so much money.
So we're going to replace
The
them with,
meters never work, and they
So we're
charge.
ready for that?
it's in our budget that we're going to pay. So, and part of the reason is the smart meters the city has are a different kind of smart meter. Really, they're basically drive-by, the unit drives by, the truck stops, it collects data from a bunch of the meters and the truck moves on. The new ones that we're upgrading to are going to have the ability for us to do everything via cell service as well. So, but part of the funding with this was to get you guys smart meters. The newer ones, so they're going to be much more efficient and accurate for you as well. I got those questions from the group. We like questions.
I have a number.
Yeah, of course. And that's what we're here for. And you know what? We understand that you guys have questions, and that's why we're here in front of you today.
In the case where I'm a landlord, so I have tenants,
Mhm.
is there a way I can keep up to make sure they're keeping up with their water bill? Or have a notification when they're falling behind? Or is there, how would we handle that?
So in the event of a landlord, the question was, he's a landlord, can he be notified if a tenant is falling behind on their water bill? The customer information is tied to the account holder. You would have to receive permission from the account holder, provide us permission to have you be an authorized user on the account to find out account information. Absent of that, we can't provide you with their information because it is private.
But is there I also pay all the bills for one of my people on my street. She's an older lady. And so I actually pay her bills. Is there a notification I can get? Or if I am, she's the account holder, can I get a notification on anything, or that's not set up at all to do anything?
If she adds, for like via email, for example, if she adds you to the account as a secondary email, then you would receive the notification as well. So you would have to work with her, have her contact us, say, hey, can I add this secondary email? And at that point, you would receive it. It'd be like very similar to a husband and wife both receiving the bill via email.
Okay.
So, but she would have to add you
No,
as an authorized user.
there's a method, as long as there's a method.
There is a method for that, yes.
And turning off and on service, we used to do that with the city. Do we now do it?
You would do it through us, and you can do so. There's a start and stop service request on the My Account portal. It's all electronic, so you don't have to call us. So all of that can be done on the website.
Just to be clear about that date, so it starts Monday, because I'm actually closing escrow on a house that I'm purchasing. That one on Wednesday.
It starts Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So yeah, basically when if you're closing escrow Wednesday on the new house up there, first off, congratulations. Yeah, but definitely give us a call on Wednesday to set up service. You'll be calling us. I'll go here and I'll go here.
Okay, given the infrastructure and it's for the state of repair. When are we gonna start working on it? Who's gonna pay for it? Or did X number of years ago, somebody set up one of the worst decisions they could have possibly done?
Okay, so in terms of the infrastructure upgrades, part of the agreement was the city providing us funding that's going to go towards some of those infrastructure upgrades to offset some of those costs. We also got some money through the county, through the American Rescue Plan Act, to help with some of the infrastructure improvements in the area. In terms of the construction projects and when they're going to begin, we've got a sewer project on G Street that I anticipate will begin around December 1st. That goes from 2nd down to about 8th Street, roughly. We're going to be doing a little bit of work on 4th Street to update a lift station that's actually underneath the roadway. So we'll be doing that within the next few months. That will all be night work. And then the other, we'll be doing some work on Highway 74 starting next year. And then there was one other sewer project I think that we've got coming up in the general area too. But a few projects we expedited because some of the facilities didn't meet our safety standards. And so we want to get them done first. Some of them, it was about if we can put in one more pipe, we can take an old lift station offline, for example. So we're going to be starting that fairly soon, but we did get money from the city as part of the agreement. And we also got money from the county through the American Rescue Plan Act to offset some of those costs as well. And then also there is on your bill, there's also a line item that is called capital improvement charges. That allows us to proactively invest in infrastructure replacement and refurbishment. Really, that is designed to fix systems before they break, aging systems. The funding from that small line item on your bill will go into a dedicated account to support infrastructure improvements within your regions.
The region or Perris specific? The region's pretty big, right?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of work out here and there. So
Yeah.
Trust me, I've seen the roadmap for the next few years because I do our construction outreach for the area too, and we're going to be investing in your community. So.
I'm a little concerned about our access to representation. And what I mean by that is right now, if we have a problem or it can't be easily resolved, I can go down to the city and I can talk to a person and they'll help me. And I've done that, availed myself of that several times. And I'm concerned, I mean, I've actually called your customer support number before and it's not user friendly. And it certainly doesn't end up with me actually getting a person of any knowledge or ability to solve any kind of problems. And so how is that being addressed, especially during this transition period?
Absolutely. So I've got my cards in the back. I'm going to give you my card. So I'm the public affairs officer for this area. I'm ultimately one of the people who is going to be the face of the district throughout all this. I'm going to give you my information, make sure that you have it. If you've got concerns and you've got questions, if you get home this weekend and you think, hey, I've got 5 more questions, let's touch base. I will do my best to answer every single one of them for you. Might have to say, hey, let me call you back because I need to look something up. But absolutely, I will give you my number. My cell number is on there. Whatever question you've got, we're going to be accountable. That's one of the things about EMWD is we are very, very accountable to our ratepayers. We, in the water industry, we have a great reputation because we want to be first class in everything we do. And so we are absolutely going to be accountable. We're going to be responsive. If you have questions, you're going to have my number. Feel free to give me a call.
Is there a standing committee or ad hoc committee or something that would address these kind of things with the EMW directed to the board member for this area, or what is there available for us if we want to be, more involved and be heard a little more beyond just, us talking one-on-one about one issue, as opposed to, general, like the tier structure and the sewer charges going forward for the next 5. I'm really worried about that 6th year on it. But I mean, is there anything set up where we can participate in that? Or get, updates on where we are and how things are going?
Well, so first off, you have our commitment that we're gonna keep you updated with how things are going. That you have our commitment that we're gonna make sure that, just because October 15th rolls around doesn't mean that we stop communicating with you. It doesn't mean that we say, okay, you're our customer, we don't have to worry about it. We're gonna make it happen. And so our board member for this area is very, very responsive as well. He wants to hear with you in terms of, he's very problem, focused on solving. So, definitely if it becomes a situation where you need to touch base with him, we can also help put you in touch. But my hope is that we solve the problem on a staff level as well. And I think you'll find that we're very responsive as well.
Are there any other fees beyond that $25 late fee? Are there any other fees for being late or behind?
In terms of other fees, if you get disconnected, there's a reconnection fee. But in terms of just, okay, I was behind on my payments, it's just the $25. But in terms of a disconnection fee, there is one to reconnect.
Is that one time or each month, $25?
Okay. They are up there. I think they're in the wagon. So
Is that a one-time $25 fee or every month $25?
every month that you're late. So if you are late on your May payment, but you make the June payment, we're not adding 25 for every single month, but if you miss that month, does that make sense?
Kind of, I'm not 100% sure what you're saying there.
If you don't pay your May bill,
$25.
yes, but it's now July and you haven't paid your June bill, you also get the fee for June. If you paid June, we're not adding 25 for every month that you're late on the May bill.
This is more of a comment than a question, and it's actually directed. I get from 2 different people at EMWD. I don't even have that on this mail. I get an email every month on some kind of a meeting that you hold, like an agenda packet, the email. Are you believe that might be?
Yeah, so you can sign up to receive our board of directors and committee meeting agendas online. There's a way to do that on the website, so you can receive those as well.
I haven't opened one in a long time. I didn't know what they were about, but I did.
Yeah, so you can sign up to receive our agendas through our website, and we'll send them to you every single board meeting and committee meeting as well.
Where are they held at? Your board meeting?
At our main office on Trumbull, right across from the big league gyms in the waterfront.
Just look.
Yeah, and those are at 9 a.m. on the first and third Wednesday. And we also stream them online as well, and they're recorded as well. Let us know your hand up.
You heard me thinking.
Okay.
Very scary thought, I'm sorry. Right now, we all know our bills due on the first. Will you guys be changing those dates?
So right now, the question was the bill is due obviously on the first of the month. You what? So the 5th. So your bill will be due 20 days after the date of the bill. So if your first bill was done November 7th, it'll be by November 27th. Once we get you on the smart meters, we have the ability to modify your billing date to better align it with the first bill. So, but we gotta get you over to the smart meters first as part of that process, because then we can change the billing cycle date. And we've done that with a lot of folks on fixed incomes, senior citizens who say, hey, I need to be around the first of the month. So once we get you on the new meters, a lot of benefits, including we can get you on a different billing cycle because it's just all cell tower. And honestly, if the bill is due on like the 28th, like now I get paid on the 1st, call us. We do payment extensions, but you got to communicate with us. We can't magically know. So just give us a call and say, hey, my bill says it's due the 28th. I get paid the 1st. And we can do the payment extension for you, but you got to communicate that to us proactively as well. But definitely, once we get the new meters, a lot of benefits. And again, it's not necessarily going to be it's due on the 1st every month. It's the way our billing cycles work. But it will be, we can get you to a cycle that's all around the first of the month, give or take, to get that a little bit more manageable for you as well.
Still the future. Is there a time when everybody in the city of Perris is gonna be on the same water? Are we always gonna be the little guys down here who stuck with the city, and now we pay more for water than anybody else?
Long term, I can't predict anything. If I could, I might be in Vegas right now predicting the future there. But definitely, there's going to be a time when we want to get everybody aligned. That's our goal. We had, and just for perspective, we had a mutual water company in Hemet that we took over many years ago. I want to say it was 1972. They were on a modified rate out there. It's called our food rail rate. And for years and years, they were on a specialized rate. We ended up getting them transitioned over to our rate as well. I want to say probably about 5 to 8 years ago, finally, we got them over. But it won't be that long. There were some legal requirements. We had to keep it for as long as we did. Those aren't going to be in place here. Our goal is, for us, it's easier if everybody's on the same rate structure. It is so much easier for us administratively in terms of doing notices. It's administratively better for us. So there's going to come a point in time where, yeah, we're going to start a transition to get you to our methodology, to align with that rate structure, to do all those things. We don't know when that is, but right now, the rate structure you're on is probably going to be the one that benefits you right now as well, just because of the way that the city's budget and their tiers align with their rates. Right now, it's definitely where it should be for you. So, but long term, we want to get you over to being in line with every customer.
When is the new smart meters going to be put in?
I don't have a date for the new smart meters going in, but it is going to our board, I believe, later this year for that. But it's going to be a long-term process. Again, it's about 4,000 meters that we have to replace. So it takes a little bit of time to do that work, but it is something that's a priority for us because it's also a cost savings feature in terms of reducing vehicle miles, fuel costs, et cetera. You can have as many as you want.
In regard to the water budget, what governs that, or what gives you the right to do that? So you tell us how much water we should be budgeted and determine what it is. I mean, where does that authority come from?
So there's a little agency called the State Water Resources Control Board. And they adopted policies called California Conservation Way of Life that actually is updating the standard for how household water budgets are allocated. So we went to water budgets in 2008, and at the time, our customers were using about 220 gallons per person per day. We went to the water budgets, and the result is our customers are now using about 120 gallons a day. Our customers have been much more efficient since going on those water budgets. We still see greenery everywhere around. Our water budgets are actually pretty liberal, especially given the size of lots and the climate within our area. But it's something that we've done in part to promote efficient water use, responsible and accountable water use. But the state also has requirements for that as well. We have to be within that range as well. So, but our budgets are pretty on par with what they should be. But we want you to be efficient. You know, we want you to use water responsibly. You know, new homes are held to a much higher standard than the old homes. Since 2015, new homes can't have turf in the front yards. It's got to be drought tolerant landscape. So older homes are still have that. That's why we have different water budgets for every single property to reflect the age of the home and the regulations there, and to make sure that we're giving you an efficient amount for your property, specific to you and your needs and the number of people within your household, but still giving you a fair amount as well. we partnered with UC Riverside on a study about water rates a number of years ago, and you see the same conservation factor as what we have. If we did flat rate pricing, we would have had to have rates that I think it was somewhere like 40 or 50% higher to achieve the same efficiency levels as our allocation-based rate structure that's unique to each individual property. So we want people to use our resources efficiently, but as a special district, our board can establish those budgets and set the rates accordingly, as long as they're in line with Proposition 218, which really says we charge you for the cost of service. So,
Did the city end up net being a benefit, the financial benefit, or just they got it out from underneath their, bothering them to deal with it, or what was the benefit to the city ultimately?
operating and Matt may be able to chime in here in terms of what the benefit was to the city. Operating a water or wastewater agency is a very, very nuanced industry. It's very challenging. There's a lot of regulatory requirements. There's a lot of infrastructure requirements. And this is not to say anything bad about the city, but cities sometimes aren't set up to handle those things. We have engineers and finance folks who are very, very trained with a lot of experience on water and wastewater and the financial structures of those. Cities don't necessarily have those resources. And they were seeing a lot of increased maintenance costs over the last few years that were keeping the system sustainable, and an increasing challenge. So for them, it was really about, hey, we don't have the resources to continually invest in the system to meet the level of service that EMWD can provide. So that's why they approached us and said, hey, can we hand this off to you? Because you guys are the experts here. You guys have been trusted in this community for a long time. And there's going to be ultimately a better level of service for the people that they represent as well as a city by handing it to us. So ultimately, it's about being more efficient and a more consistent, higher level of service across the board through this as well as, again, the financial limitations. And when you've only got 4,000 connections, there's not a lot of customers to spread those costs across. It's going to hit your home more than it's going to hit us when we've got 165,000 accounts and we have to do a regional upgrade or something. We can absorb that and make it a little bit more manageable for each individual customer. And so that's another benefit. It's that economy of scale. And Matt, do you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, no, you said it. I mean, to put it into scale, our city has population, over 88,000 people. We only have 4,000 accounts that we're serving through our finance department. So we're just exactly like you said, handing it over to the experts. This is what they do. Finance here handles police, handles fire, handles property tax and all that. This is what they do. So it's going to be. I really like the employees that we have that are currently servicing us. They seem very responsive, and I'm worried we move to a big faceless company that's much larger, and that you lose that, I don't know, hometown control over Small town feel.
Yeah, and so that's somewhat concerning. I've been here a long time. My family's been here a really long time, and you see it slip away at so many levels. It's just concerning.
And I will say this: do you pay your bills for town or not?
I pay for my renters frequently.
Okay, we typically have the same faces working our front counter all the time. I know when I ride over there, it's the same 2 or 3 customer service reps who are at that front counter most days. I'm the rep for this area. I'm going to be out and about at different places. One thing I hear a lot in the community is when people see our guys out in the field, they start to get to know them too. You're going to see our crews. Our crews are very approachable, they're very sociable. I don't think you're going to lose that hometown feel. Our team, the guys that wear blue too, they're out in the field. They take a ton of pride in what they do, and they are very approachable, very personable. And if you have questions and they're out there working, they are always happy when it's safe to answer a question that you say hi. You're not going to lose that small town feel.
But I look forward to upgrades. I mean, I've had constant issues for all the years we've been here in some of our areas, especially with sewage.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I got to know the guys better than I probably need to, but it's nice to know when they come out, they're like, Mr. Cooper, they come up, knock on the door, tell us what they're gonna do. You know what I mean? Not all of a sudden they show up and start tearing the road up and put signs up,
And that's one thing we do, is if we do construction in the neighborhood, we are going to send you mailers, door hangers, calls, emails, whatever it is. You're gonna know that there's construction in your neighborhood and you're gonna know who's doing it. I live in Menifee and there's somebody who's doing work on my house and I don't know who is doing that work. They tore up the roadway and I don't know who's responsible. EMWD, we're responsible. We put project signs up at every construction site. We do outreach to make sure that you're aware that, hey, we're doing this work. If there's a concern, you let us know, we'll address it. But also that way you know that we're investing in your infrastructure, that we're out there trying to make it a better system for you. And that way you have faith where you're ready to go into improvements that benefit you as a customer. So we're doing work. You're going to hear about it from us.
I don't want to be overly specific, but in our neighborhood, on our street specific, I live on Park Avenue.
Okay.
And there's a spot where the sewer comes up the street, it ends at 7th Street, then it again is over on 10th Street. So all the way along the front of our property, there's actually no sewer line there. And, we would benefit greatly if there were one, because then we wouldn't have all the problems with connecting so far away in a very convoluted manner. If a situation like that, is that something you guys look at fixing, upgrading, or how would that be approached?
Typically, the new sewer lines, when we expand the service in an existing area, are typically done by a developer. That being said, if there's grant funding or others ways that we can do it, we absolutely do. I want to follow up with you next week.
Everybody's low income. I mean, if you tried to put it onto us to do it, it would be.
No, and we understand that. Like I said, we've gotten $700 million in grant funding to do projects like those. So we are very active with getting money to make it so you don't have to pay for stuff. So let's follow up next week. And I can look at more the mapping and the property just to get a better feel. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
of course. Yeah.
I have a question about the quality of the water.
Yes.
Water softener for
The question was, does he need a water softener for the house with water quality? No, EMWD meets all state and federal standards for drinking water. Typically, water softeners are going to be to interior remove salts. The drinking water standard for the state, California, and federal government is about 500 parts per million or less for salt contents or your total dissolved solids. EMWD is continually under that number. We've got a desalination complex a few miles down the road here that we treat groundwater, clean it, and remove all the salts as well. So our water quality is very, very high. We do 40-something thousand tests a year to make sure we meet the water quality as well. So, and then occasionally we do have situations though where we're in a drought or something and we have to change water sources. You might see a little bit of an increase in that. Typically, it's usually when we use more Colorado River water, but for the most part, it's going to be a situation where you're not ever going to need that. We do not add fluoride to your drinking water. It's one of the number one questions we get. We do not add fluoride.
When the water turns off and back on occasionally, a lot of junk comes through the pipes and brown. It clogs up every single filter everywhere. Water hoses.
Are you talking about when the water, you shut the water off at your house, or when the city?
What the city does to work on something, and when it comes back on, you just get.
You get sediment when we do a good job of flushing the lines before, as we're trying to get back on.
Is there something that we could put to catch that, or no?
No, it's usually if there's been construction in the neighborhood and you service is restored, there will be a little bit of sediment. We always hope to run the water for a few minutes. We do a good job. Usually when we flush the lines after we do any maintenance, we'll flush them through the fire hydrant.
No, it's fine. It clogs up all the, like, your dishwashers, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to gotta take everything apart.
We do a good job of doing that proactively for you. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up here, but certainly if anybody has questions, come see me afterwards, and I'll give you my card as well. But we appreciate the opportunity to serve you in the future, and thank you for joining us tonight.